Thanks for staying with us. So our topic today is about lies, lies, and lies. And we're discussing how couples turn children against each other. There have been so many instances where we hear of when doing couples fighting and they begin to turn the children. So, for example, we had a story of a woman who lied to her children that their father raped her or even raped them. I mean, she brainwashed children. We also had stories where husbands in a fight lie, say their wife, their mothers are meeting somebody else or are cheating on their family or they've abandoned the kids. We use these things against each other, especially in homes. There have been stories also of women lying, bringing another child into the home, saying it's your child. You know, it's yours. These are lies. Many homes are built on that foundation of lies. How do we help people? How do we have these conversations? Because in life, whether we like it or not, at some point we are faced with something similar where your child hates you because of a lie that was told to them. How do we deal with this situation? That's a conversation today. You can call us the numbers on your screen, 08127053687, 0913-907694. You can also tweet to us at TVC. And please hashtag your view TVC so we can read the tweet. I've shared this story with you guys before. I had a woman who took her kids away. I think there were 3 boys. Took her kids away from their father. I mean, of course, they separated, you know, but she then had custody. And she raised these kids in such bitterness, like for them to hate their father so much. And then their father was going to be 60, and the kids were grown. They're in their 30s, late 20s, and like, you know what? We want to celebrate his 60th birthday, and we want it to be in this house. And she thought that she had raised these kids to hate this man, and she was shocked. And it wasn't so much that it wasn't her intention to raise them to hate him, but she was just telling them the hurt, what their father put her through. She said that day, according to the story, I don't know her personally, that she was shocked to see that they got a canopy. That she was to have her own 50th birthday. They didn't do anything, no. But their father's 60th, they got a canopy, they got caterers in her house, they set up, and she was just upstairs listening to all the music and hearing their father laughing. And she was angry. 11 p.m. she came downstairs and chased everybody out. Get out of my house. You know, she was really upset. So she was hurt that I suffered with you guys all these years. And you can pay me back by throwing your father his 60th birthday party.
It's not payback. You see, you know, it's as if almost, like I said, in the past few weeks, we've just been talking about a lot of emotional trauma and a lot of bitterness. Because when people don't know they are bitter, they just feel like, I'm just normal now. It's okay for me to watch out for myself, but if watching out for myself is painting another person black so that you look good, they're not watching out for yourself. You're being bitter and you're hurting another person. Yes, it is wrong for you to, no matter how hurt somebody is or a partner in a relationship is, you must be able to raise the children to see the good and see the good in the person. And it is tough. But that person is the father or the person is the mother, because it's happened in both cases where a woman would raise her children and make her children aware that your father is not the one paying the school fees. Your father is not the one responsible for you. Your father is deadbeat. He doesn't take anything in this house. I'm the one that covers everything. You're painting the man horrible. The idea is, yes, you don't need to hide the reality, but let the children grow up understanding and loving their father for who he is, understanding his weaknesses, and accepting that the bitterness of painting someone black, yes, is what we need to address. That how can we get to that point? And you cannot get it until you heal. Many people are carrying 20-year-old baggage, burden in their heart, and they are letting it influence their everyday decision because somebody hurt you. He cheated, he beat you, he did something really bad. You will not move forward, and you will carry everybody with you in 20 years ago. You carry the children, they are with you 20 years ago. I think that we need to open up our minds to this conversation. Normalize therapy. Normalize having a counselor to talk to you that you can unburden to, and then they will help you find the right perspective, give you the right perspective to see the situation from, and be grateful for where you are.
But basically, let me come to you, because this is a very, very sensitive topic, and it's sensitive because many people grew up hating one parent. I know a situation in my family where the children were practically raised to hate their father. There was nothing the father could
happens
do
a lot.
that was right. Now, in some cases, he could be deadbeat. But how should we manage that information with our children?
Yeah, so I think it's both ways. And I think parents need to understand that their children are not tools for fights. Their children are not tools for settling any issues between them. You did not marry these children. I love you. I chose you. We decided to come together as full-blown adults. And if we have any disagreements, quarrels, and separations, our children should not be used against one another. I think once you get that sorted, a lot of things will begin to unfold itself. Also, we're naturally selfish. Man is naturally selfish. So you would calculate and say, I'm putting in more of the effort. You think you are putting in more of the effort. If you bring an outside perspective, they may see that you're actually not putting in more of the effort. But you think you're putting in more of the effort, and you want the children to give you rewards that is commensurate to the effort you've put in compared to your partner. And so you start that divide and rule. You start hinting them, your father is not paying this, your father is not doing this, your father is not doing that, in the hopes that when they grow, they will face you more because you put in more. We need to understand that this marriage thing is we are supposed to be a team. It is teamwork. We're supposed to work together. So where my husband is failing, I am supposed to be helping him. Where I am failing, he is supposed to be helping me. If you have that mindset, even if one person is not doing as much as you would expect, it's something that you just bring up in conversations and have that, and you don't push it onto the kids. Come and see, oh, I'm the one that is doing all of this. So let me give you one story. So there's this family member who, the kids, they are grown now. They were sharing that for the longest time, they didn't see their father as someone who was worthy of respect. Because the mother kept saying, I'm the one doing this. It's me that does this. I buy the Christmas clothes. I do this, I do that. So after a while, the first child had a conversation with the father like, Daddy, you are not doing anything for us. You are not doing this, you are not doing that. And the mom was like, hey, as a bank manager, I had one shoe. I had just one shoe. I've been paying all the bills, all the money she's spending, I'm the one giving it to her. Where did you hear this from? And, by the time they now started having a conversation, the woman was just in shame. Because over the years, she had put it in the children's mind that the man wasn't doing anything. I think women and men, because some men do this, we need to stop. Don't marry somebody you know that on a normal day you don't really like. You just want to marry. Marry somebody you know that you're going to put your heads together and work the home. So you're going to be covering each other's shame in the presence of your children so that you can have healthy children.
Interestingly, there's a medical term for that. I didn't even realize. It's a narcissistic parental alienation syndrome. And it is a situation where your child being coerced into disliking you. Now, this happens a lot of times, and we all pretend it's not there.
Subtle and direct.
Yes, it could be subtle and it could be very direct. But you see, in a lot of cases, even parents do the same thing for, grandparents. They try to subtly put it in there that, this your mommy is not doing anything. She's always going out. She's always a career woman. Is it the house girl that is raising you? Is it the, And gradually the kids now start feeling like, mommy is not here. That's true. Mommy is hardly here. So these are things that comes in because some people might have an agenda. But let's bring it home, because I want us to really break it down properly. There are situations where men are they already feel inadequate, that I'm not doing enough. And the only way they can come across to their children as better is if they make their wife look bad, look lower and bad. So that's their own way to say, you know what, at least I have the children on my side. You can bring all the money from the house, you can buy the car. For me, these children must like me, because for them that's their legacy.
A low self-esteem situation. They are dealing with insecurity and low self-esteem because you know what they say. I don't need to make Mariam feel. I don't need to paint Mariam bad so that people will see me as good. We can both shine, and we need to push that narrative. A man and a woman in a marriage can both shine, and they are both imperfect, and they both have weaknesses and they have strengths. So you don't highlight. I've said it several times. My husband comes home late. So it's like when my kids say like, oh, daddy is coming back home late again. I say, daddy is working so hard to give you a better quality of life. When I enter the room, I can start shouting, Mr. Mark, you are home late again. But in the front of the children, it is not that, oh, daddy is never around. I say, daddy is never around because daddy is working. Do you know what it takes to work the way he's working? Yeah. It's not convenient. So even if it is an issue I have, it mustn't be reflected into the children because that might be indirect, it might be subtle, but I am going to be raising the consciousness in the children that is never around or something. Rather, I can give it a stronger meaning for them. And that is because that's in the subtle, indirect way. Some people deliberately, out of bitterness for their partner, paint their partner bad, not just to the children, but to everybody. They demonize their partner.
My question is, how, if you're in that situation where
you feel demonized by your partner,
how do you live? How can you have a home where I'm trying to place this properly? There are people in that situation right now. How can they fix it?
It depends on which of the partner we are highlighting.
Is it the man or the woman?
No, not the partner. If you are the one feeling like you are being demonized, like you've heard some things that make you feel like, wow, how can my husband or my wife say this kind of thing about me? It's important to confront the conversation. Have the conversation that I heard you said this, or I overheard the conversation and I feel like what you're saying will make me look like a bad person. Like, do you really think I'm a bad person?
But if they're a bad person, sorry, I'm not setting the premise properly. Okay. This person is a bad person. The woman actually doesn't stay home. She's out all night. She's traveling around the world. She's really not around. Okay. And he's angry. Okay. Now, he has to raise the kids himself. Okay. Now, he has to make the kids understand that the reason why I cannot go to your own music class and your own concert is because your mother is around, she's all the way in Japan. I can't, So they are real issues.
So does that make the woman a bad person because she's working?
Hey,
we need to establish that. All hands are not equal, so to speak. Sometimes God blesses one partner more in terms of career, and the other one is just a bit, laid back, because the situation needs somebody at every time to be present. So are you upset that you are the one that is present with your home? You shouldn't be upset. You made this plan. You decided to marry this person. You decided to raise these children. So if peradventure your wife is the one who God has blessed in career, she's putting in where her strength is. She's bringing the money home. You are the one who is now sitting at home. Why are you complaining? Doing your responsibility. You need to understand.
But they've told us that it's women that raise children.
Even if it is flipped.
They've told us that it's the women that
raise children.
Yes.
So why are you not the one getting the career? What if your head cannot carry it? Will you not say, I will not marry because I cannot carry it? You see, I believe that a man must be able to provide, right? But we are realizing now that God can choose to bless anybody more. God can choose to lift anybody more. As long as you have decided to stay, you are working as a team, you must work together. Tomorrow, she may stop that job and God raises you up and you go. Does she complain that, your dad is never around, I'm the only one raising you? She should do her job. So do your job and be grateful for the job. Then also, please, Mariam, before we go quickly, when you raise children in bitterness, it's usually counterproductive. People never see it. Because these kids are going to grow up. They are going to understand. They are going to look at things. They will see your behavior. They will see the man's behavior. And they can think for themselves and know that, mommy has been lying to us for the longest of time. When you lose them at that level, you have lost them, because they won't forgive you.
Let me go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing raising children in bitterness. So this is one of those topics that actually need an expert. We need a proper therapy. You're going to do coaches, but because we need to really dig in. There are things where people raise children in bitterness and they don't realize the repercussions of these acts, what could happen in future when you raise children like that. As I was saying in the story I shared, where these kids just rebelled against their mother. They chose their father. And after that party, they just went on. They had a relationship with their father.
Because they could see through. So the first thing I'll say is, if you find yourself married to someone you feel is being wicked to you, your grouse is with the person, not with your children. So who are you quarreling with? Who is being wicked? Who is being evil? Deal with the person. Whenever I see you, I'll give it to you fire for fire. But I will not vent that emotional baggage I'm carrying and place the burden on my children. Because what that person is doing is, you are heavy. Your heart is heavy with pain because you are married to someone that's hurt you. Then you now carry that pain and place it on your children as well. You carry that baggage and place on your children. You are raising children that will have trauma in future. They cannot have a good relationship with their partner because they'll be seeing their own partner from the lens their parents taught them to see partners. And that's why sometimes you get married, you're not looking at that partner. You're not looking at your husband or your wife. You're looking at the way he or she was raised by his family. If you marry someone who was raised in a bitter home, you are likely going to be dealing with a bitter person. And we're not opening up enough channel to discuss these things about how there are bitterness. Why would you want to vent and report your wife to your children? Why? If you had not seen it take place before.
People forget that it's actually counterproductive, because even if your wife is messing up, she's not around, but you constantly tell the kids your mom loves you, you know, she
they would value you more.
They'll value you more.
They see through.
Eventually they will see for themselves.
Yes.
But then they'll now respect you more and hold you more in high esteem, because they realize that you actually were protecting their mother and not making your mother. So we always forget that it actually works the other way.
And the respect to be higher.
And that's because, you know, I always say, marry somebody that you can live with as a friend when the love jumps out of the window. Because from time to time, the love, the feeling will jump out of the window. Things will happen. Life situations will come. Crisis will come. Bills will be there to be paid. A lot of things that would stress you, because it's really when you're stressed that the real you comes out. And so if you have measured this person when this person is undergoing stress, and you know the real person that comes out in that stress, you can tell, even if anything happens in this marriage, I would be able to stay with this person. So get that sorted first, because anything can happen to anybody and in any situation. After you have sorted that, understand that every issues that you have, no matter how painful it is, you must have a conversation with your spouse. Sometimes this thing we call wickedness is just because there's no dialogue. You are just assuming that this person is jumping from place to place to look for this work because she just wants to fly. In her head, she's assuming that you are just laid back, lazying around, waiting for me to do all the work and bring the money. Everybody's working on assumptions. And that's why you must have a dialogue. Okay, all this travel you're traveling, madam, is there any way you can do this work remotely without actually being present, so that at least two of us can share some days in school with the children, if that is your problem? Have that conversation. But everybody will just keep quiet. I'm doing the best I can do. That's all I can do. That's the best I can do. This is me. I can never change. This is how you met me. This is how I am. And it starts building that resentment in the heart of the partners. There's something I always appreciate my father for. Even when the relationship didn't work out, it was an intertribal marriage, Yoruba, Igbo, and all the family issues came into play, and it didn't work out. He never sat me down one day to say, your mother is this, 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 and this. He never did that, and I appreciate him. He allowed me to grow up, to have experiences with both of them, and then decide for myself. So I respect him for that, and that is the reason today I am not facing my mother and leaving my father. After all, you gave me, I relate with both of them as my parents, even if they're not living together. That is the end goal of the matter, where your children must be able to relate to both parents, because your issues don't concern them in the first place.
Let me take this call from Abosede. Good morning, Abosede. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, ladies.
Morning.
Morning.
Thank God it's Friday. I like
yes,
this morning.
Are you sure? It's very deep.
A deep topic.
Hello.
We can hear you, Abosede. Go ahead.
All right. I just want to contribute to the discussion. You know, sometimes when you have not experienced such, you might not really understand.
Yes.
I am a single mom, don't marry to another person, and my son is going to be 21, and I have to do all for him without his father, even while I was married to his father. You know? And every time I try not to say something negative about his father to me. But the boy is grown. He's in the university, a private university. He pays close to ₦1 million per section. The father only sends him 10,000, 15,000. In fact, he just left for school after election. The father has just sent to him 15,000 naira. And I've spent close to 60,000 naira, apart from the grocery he took to school. So sometimes it's not as if, as a mother, I want to tell you that your father is bad, your father is wicked. But he's saying it. He's saying that the man is not, and I try as much as possible not to tell him that oh, this is what your father is doing. But the boy can, even sometimes when I complain that, okay, your father sent you 15,000, is this for your school fees or what? You say, Mommy, don't bother now. That would, the boy would just tell me, Mommy, don't bother now. And, I'm not trying to paint the father black, but the boy is saying it.
Allow him.
So thank you, Abosede. Thank you, Abosede, for your post. So because I was saying that in a situation where it is the fact, it's there, it's glaring. What do you do as a mother?
I like what she just said. She hasn't tried to paint the man bad, but the child is seeing. Allow the child see. Don't bring the child into it. Allow the child to see. See, once somebody is in the university, he's already an adult. He's grown. He can see.
Let's imagine the child is not in university. Let's imagine the child in the secondary school. So obviously, your daddy was supposed to pay your school fees. Wait, let's paint a scenario.
Yes.
Daddy supposed to pay your school fee. He calls daddy, please. Mommy said school fees is due next month. The dad is giving excuses. Tells the mother, I can't pay. I don't have the money. So as a mother now, you now paid. So should you now lie to the boy that, oh, your father already sent me? Or say, oh, your father didn't send it, but don't worry, I'll pay it. That's where a lot of people are faced. It's not as if they want to lie, but...
I mentioned earlier, I said give them a good meaning to the story. So if the man is always sending 15,000, but you know that the man is not rich, that means you know that it's not like the man is deliberately being wicked to you. Then you will tell your son that he has given what he can. Because if you say that's the way he is a different thing from he has given what he can. There are two responses to the same situation.
What if that's what he maybe he has a new family? Let's
and he has responsibilities.
And he's not he's taking care of his own family, but for you, he's not taking care of you.
Yes.
Are you going to lie and say that?
No, and the one paying the school fees, he's done what he can. He's done what he feels he can do. But I am not going to now make him look like, oh, because you can keep quiet and let him be drawing a conclusion that you know is a negative narrative. Or you can choose to help him paint a picture that maybe later I will now see that, this man was sent my other brothers abroad, but he was sending us 15K. And Mommy was saying he did what he can. Mommy, why did you say he did what he can? I didn't want you to be wicked. I didn't want you to hate him. But even what she's saying, she's hurt. And definitely, subconsciously, she's already transferring that hurt. And it's not easy not to be hurt. Let us acknowledge.
Of course.
You're a single mother, you're raising children by yourself. It is not easy. Even in marriage, you are overburdened with work. It is not easy not to be hurt. So acknowledge your hurt. Get counseling to help you give proper perspective to how you deal with your children. If not, you will transfer that hurt to your children and you'll be saying, no, I'm not raising him like that, but his father sent 15K. But the truth is, you are not happy the father sent 15K. You should have sent at least like 300 or 500,000 naira. But he didn't do that. So he will get that you're not happy. And he will use that to respond to the man.
Children have a way.
Tough.
Children have a way of catching the feeling, right?
So I just got information that Mariam just came in. She was stuck in traffic. So we'll see if we can go on a break and bring her in. Let her. It'd be nice to have a Mariam perspective on this.
Yes.
Yeah, it will be.
Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. So Mariam Longe just joined. Bele. Traffic was crazy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How was it?
Good. We're here. I mean, it was, I don't know. I thought, oh, is this happening again? Because this happened to me last Friday.
Till April 30th, they were told.
No, but I saw Waike said that a trailer fell. So this is a different thing. Because throughout the week, it's been good. I've been leaving home even earlier because of it. So, yeah.
I'll come to you in a minute. You're going to make a point before we go on.
Yes. So I wanted to say that there's an age-appropriate conversation to have with children. And that's where every parent must ask for wisdom on how to deal, especially if you have a difficult partner, so that you don't go and pass information to that child when the child is not really matured enough to process that information. It can go sideways. It's very important that you wait. So I'm not propagating that you have to lie and paint everything glamorous when it's not. You know the struggles that you're going through, but you know how to sift the information and only give the one that is age appropriate for the child per time. So when the child becomes an adult, gets to the university and all that you can now begin to have conversations. And at the end of that conversation, you must ensure that the child understands, I'm not telling you this so that you dislike him. He has his own challenges and everything. I'm just telling you what I've gone through for you to understand. A mature adult will be able to process that information and separate it from himself or carrying out your anger on your behalf. We must be very careful. It's wisdom. This parenting thing is serious wisdom.
Mariam, let me come to you because, I mean, I know you've been briefed already, but see, for example, a single mother, let's just say if a single mother who is trying to get over you, you just broke it off and things went really bad between both of you, I'm not going to be saying nice things about you because I really want to move on. I want to meet new people. So I'm not going to tell my kids, oh, your father loves you. He's only paying what he can. Because I'm like, he's deadbeat. I don't want you in my life. He doesn't deserve us. We deserve better. So you're trying to paint a new picture of a new world for your child. Must I be forced, therefore, to be painting to be nice about this, my ex, who's actually deadbeat?
So the way I see it is that you have to do, as parents, behave about Santa Claus and Father Christmas. We tell some happy truths, yes, and then as they grow older, they come to the realization. So I like what you said, that there's really an age-appropriate conversations that you have. So I lost my dad when I was really young, and if I would go by what my mom told us while we were growing up, I think it was the most fantastic human being on earth. The way she painted him, it was heaven had to have him, But as I grew older, there were things I noticed and I asked questions. So he wasn't all that. But I wouldn't have understood if she had told me much younger. Now as an adult and also as a married woman, there's some things I get it now, how I understand this. And then I have a better appreciation for her because I realized the sacrifice of what she did was, I even put my happiness aside, for some of these conversations. There's one example also of a person who the wife had called us, to this show and complained about the husband. And when the husband called us to give us his own side of the story, we were shocked. He was the right one and she was the one just peddling falsehood. And then when we wanted to come out and say this, he said, no, I'm not doing this for the world to see me as a good person. I'm doing it for my children. We have children together. So we're going to have people who know that they are telling some untruths about their partners, that they don't deserve the kindness, they don't deserve, these nice stories that they are being told, that they are described as to their children, but they're not doing it for you. They're doing it for the children, for their sanity, for just giving them also a chance, to get to know you separately on their own terms and then come up with their own impression of you on their own terms without any influence from them. It's a sacrifice some people make. I think that we should, if you can, because it cannot be easy, knowing someone is horrible and then you have to lie about it. But you can maybe not say so much about the person. Don't worry, we're fine. I've heard people say, Daddy is so busy. Some people have said, Daddy is off to war. Or Mommy is just a very, you just find something. And then when they're old enough, they'll ask more questions and you give them a little information.
While you're talking, I was just remembering my conversation with my mom. And it was after an adult. I mean, when I was growing up, my mother never used to ever say anything about my father. I've never heard anything negative about my dad from my mom. It was when I now became an adult, when I moved to 2004, both of us started getting close, we sleep on the same bed, and I started looking at family photos differently. I was asking, oh, this auntie, this auntie, that. And then noticed that, Mommy, where's Daddy? I can't see Daddy, because doing naming ceremony, you see mother, child, and family. So it was only my mom carrying me. I said, where is Daddy? She now started giving me the story that he wasn't there. And for the first time as an adult, I asked the question, I realized he wasn't, and she explained the reasons. But we should find out in my book.
Thank you.
But the point is, she never made me feel bad that, oh, your father wasn't there this time, he wasn't this. She never, ever. She always made my father look at this hero, hero of this, he's this, he does, he defends people in the courts, he doesn't collect oranges as payment, stuff like that. Making my father look at this hero. But as I grew older,
you saw that this man is a human being too.
This human being, he has flaws. Yeah. And many people forget that when you pump your children with negative stories about your spouse, either their mother or their father, it works against you.
So let me talk about the working against you, because you are not perfect. No human being is perfect. So imagine if you have painted somebody black and then they now say that, okay, you two, you have lots of black, like you're a polka dot. You paint yourself white and you paint the partner black. And then your child grows up and sees the dots. There are so many black dots around you too, and you're not perfect. And then they see that the person you painted black also has a lot of white spots. Yeah. So it now makes it look like, you deliberately made this person black and you're not perfect. It tends to now give opposite effects. And then in terms of results, how do we measure results? We measure how our children are. What's the overall well-being of the child when they grow up. How would you want your child to feel as an adult when they are supposed to get married, but they are entering the marriage with guns blazing, or they are looking at every partner like suspiciously because of the perspective you gave them about the opposite sex? So the result we want, I want a holistic, happy child who is able to make independent decisions, who is emotionally stable, who is not brought up traumatized by what a broken marriage you are going through. That is important. So don't gift your children. You might have gone through a broken marriage, but let your children be able to have a beautiful marriage.
Trauma.
Don't gift them trauma. Don't give them
extra.
Let me use a few undermining statements, because I just got a message which was really interesting. It says, ways you may be undermining each other as parents. Do you ever disagree about repercussions for bad behavior in front of your child? That's one thing where you can undermine each other's authority. Have you ever encouraged your child not to tell the other parents about something? They don't tell your mommy. Is that a bad thing? Does that undermine the authority of the other parents? Don't tell your mommy I gave you ice cream today.
You don't.
There's some things that, I mean, there are some things that are forgivable, and it's okay. And sometimes it's just, but then if it's not saying to the child, don't tell if a serious issue has happened in school, maybe child is about to be expelled or suspended, and like, we'll keep this between us, we'll not discuss with your father, we'll not discuss with your mother. That is huge. But don't tell your daddy I bought you sweet or biscuit. That's nice. Because it will even come out, and then everybody will laugh at you. But I'm saying like serious things. So it's really about the gravity of the situation.
I was trying to see if that was the foundation of staying and undermining each other. But let me go on a quick break. When I come back, I'll take your comments. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. So today we're having a really rather deep conversation, because these are realities that happen in homes all the time, where spouses their children are turned against their parents for one thing or the other, either from long-term bitterness or how people are raised or how you perceive each other. These are issues that we need to deal with. And as I said, it's the kind of show that we need a therapist, but at some point we'll probably bring in somebody to
We have therapists.
We have therapists, I know.
No, she doesn't pay. No, she just, in fact,
because they're not paying for consultation.
Let me take a deep breath and calm down.
Dr. Hill by itself.
On this show, you're a co-host.
Okay.
You're expressing our views. You're not on a professional capacity.
Okay.
Yeah.
But bring
Or
your
else we'll pay you.
So they'll pay you properly. But yeah, go ahead.
So I wanted to say that the way a lot of us stumbled into marriage, I'm using the word stumble, into marriage and parenting, most of us had not properly understood our emotions and how to handle issues as a single person. You've not sorted out your anger issues, your resentment issues, your bitterness issues, all the baggage you've brought from your own parenting. You've not sorted it out, but then you find yourself happily married. In a few years, once you are married, they look at your womb. After 6 months, it's not bulging. People are asking questions. So you hurriedly get pregnant. You're not really equipped. So the baggages that you have carried from your own childhood and upbringing is what unknowingly you are subconsciously transferring to your children. So for those people who are just in that place where they are making decisions of getting married and having children, you must tell yourself that I have to, first of all, know and understand how to handle issues, because that is how you still handle issues when it comes to parenting. We must pay attention to our emotional capacities on how we deal, we forgive, we move away from resentment, we let things go, we look at the greater picture, because if you don't sort out yourself as a single person, there's no magical. We'll just pray that at the end of the day, we don't raise children who have trauma. We don't bless them with the trauma that we carried, and then they move on to bless the next generation. At some point, we must begin to have these very deep conversations. When I am angry, do I talk about it and move on? Do I easily forgive? Do I hold grudge of 20 years ago in my heart? If you are that person as a single person, what makes you think you'll be different when you're married? Because you will transfer definitely to your children. So let us, find a way to, especially for those people who are in this now, you know that already you need help. You're going to have to get a professional to help you through it. You're going to have to do more talking and share. You have to be vulnerable enough to understand that I have a problem here and I'm willing to seek solution for the sake of my children.
This conversation started on two main stories. One about a woman who, a man whose wife lied to his kids that he raped them.
So they grew up hating their father,
raping them. For whatever reason, she did
That's
that.
a criminal.
Yeah, so she lied to the kids, raised them, and she was not asking for forgiveness. And the man said, "I'm not forgiving you." And the kids also, they want to hear from your mouth that you lied because they were raised to think their father defiled them. That's one. Then there's a story also of a man. There's a possibility that the woman lied to him concerning the paternity of the child. So these are cases where people actually do things out of hate and bitterness. Now, we now transfer that to children, where the kids are now raised to say your father is a bad person or your mother is a horrible person. How do we fix this going on? Because there are people in that situation right now. Let us forget those who it have happened, that they're about to. Those are right now where your husband is constantly making you look bad or your wife is constantly making you look bad. Yes, you're trying your best the way you can, but your wife is constantly making the kids look as if you do nothing. And how do you help? And how does a woman who feels that, listen, I'm only telling the truth, the guy doesn't do nothing in this house, I should say it as it is. I'm not going to be lying for him. If he wants me to say something, he should change the circumstances so that I can say better things about him. How do we manage that situation? Because should we lie to the kids, or you told us earlier, tell them the truth, but in a softer, in a nicer way, and give them the truth in a positive way.
Yeah.
So they don't see their father
information.
age-appropriate way. Mariam, let me let you have the final comments on this before we check
So I feel that it would be hard to lie about another partner in a marriage. It would be really difficult because children see and notice a lot of things that we don't think they see and notice. In fact, they pay more attention to the things that we do not say, more the things that we do. And where their immaturity would not allow them to have a full grasp of the situation, it's just a matter of time. And then, as I said earlier, some parents will decide, you see, the peace of mind of my children comes first, the peace in this home comes first. If what she's saying about me is just only going to hurt me, if I know about it and don't make it an issue, but my children will be fine, then let's go with it. When they grow up, many people do it. When they grow up, they will come to know the truth. But you see that example of someone that says they've raped someone. That's a criminal, that's a crime. That's a case you have to take to court and everything. She must... What? I mean, you will write a police statement confessing that crime.
That is comments and
horrible.
we wrap up on this. Comments on social media, then we wrap up on this and go to the next topic.
So,
Few comments?
somebody it just disappeared, but I'll get a live chat back. I'm reading comments from YouTube. Fiona says, Adiola, you can bring in your perspective. That's the essence of the show. Adiola says, as a single mother, I don't like listening to such topics because they never discuss it from my perspective.
Okay.
So it becomes sickening because
Did she share?
Nigerians must always be sentimental. She's a...
did she share her perspective?
No, but like she's a single mother, that's her
I hope you
perspective.
could share your perspective so we can...
We must remember empathy, because when you paint your spouse bad, please put yourself in their shoes and imagine how they will feel if the tables turn. Apply wisdom in handling issues. Austin says, I'm really concerned about the peace and happiness of my children and that of myself. All right, I'm trying to find...
All right.
But I think because of Adiola, that feels like we don't take the perspective
She could share it,
of a single woman. Like we mentioned specifically earlier, that there are some cases where you genuinely are bitter. You should seek help, professional help, to help you deal with your bitterness, and don't transfer that bitterness onto
Somebody
your
will say, I don't
children.
have time to take that to go and seek professional help.
money.
I don't have the money. I don't have my kid. I have to raise. I have kids to raise. I'm not going to be going up and down looking for a doctor to come and.
Well, how do you want your
I'd
children
rather
to turn out?
So yeah. So you have to.
So,
be
okay, you may not have the time, but in this conversation, hope you learn that in the end, somehow, it's a cycle. If you are bitter and you put that bitterness in them, it would affect you in the end. You want to raise really wholesome, well-rounded children,
Let me take
and the
Ife.
benefits of that will come to you.
Ife from Ikeja, you're live. Go ahead, please.
All right. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Ife.
Good morning. So, regarding this topic, I would say I'm part of, I'm not going to call myself a victim because my mom practically raised me. And I would say he's a deadbeat father. He practically left her at the hospital and all. But one thing she made me understand was that it's left to me to want to either have a relationship with him or just look at him. But one thing she made me do is have a relationship with my half siblings and then let him do whatever I want with him. But me, I don't think I've ever seen that man one-on-one. Like, if the relationship passes by me on the road, I don't know him, but I know my siblings. So I just feel like sometimes it depends on the mother how they want the children to see the men, if they want them to have a relationship with them, or they just want them to continue with their father.
Okay.
Good morning.
Thank you very much. Let me check this message for somebody. Hi, Mariam. Thank you for this topic. I have not spoken to my father in 30 years because I was raised to believe he was the one that destroyed everything in our family. Today, he still lives in Ibadan, but I still choose not to have any relationship with him. So I don't know if this is a man or a woman, but this person has chosen not to have a relationship. So we don't know the circumstances. I mean, it's easy for us to judge and say, no matter what happens, love your father, separate him, his acts, his behavior from who he is as a person. But we don't know the shoes some people have walked through where they say maybe the man actually really hated.
We all agree on forgiveness. But we did not say when you forgive, you should now go back into the relationship. So you can forgive and put boundaries. Some people are really wicked. Some people are evil. Like, you hear the things they do and you be like, is this a human being? Yeah. How can you do such a thing? But when you hear, and if you find yourself in a marriage to such a person, or that person is your parent, you simply be like, I'll free myself, forgive this person, and then I'll cut off relationship with the person. It doesn't, but not that if you say, I've freed the person, or I've cut off relationship, you keep telling everybody how horrible the person is. That means you are still living in the past hurts. You let it go. Fantastic. And then leave him alone or leave her alone.
That also goes to somebody who's raising a child, a single parent in any way. Say, even though you've forgiven the person, if you feel you have forgiven the person, but you still find yourself saying negative things about that person, that means you've not healed.
Not healed.
So once you know you've not healed, then you have to, that's why you have to seek help. I think we can end on that.